Well, we've heard it all now, haven't we? Apparently, Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV show ghosted Peter Jackson. They asked him to be involved, and then they ghosted him. What? Shocking. Yeah, we'll just do. We'll make a success by ourselves. Now, obviously, Peter Jackson's not the definitive filmmaker for Lord of the Rings. He has been. Is he going to be permanently in future? Who knows? He has made one of the best adaptations of Lord of the Rings for sure. Hobbit's also terrible, but point remains, they ghosted him. Why would you do that? Why? So strange. So Peter Jackson says Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series ghosted him. Smart people. The Oscar-winning director says Amazon asked him to be involved and then cut off contact. Amazon suggests the story isn't quite so simple. Yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, Peter Jackson's got nothing to lose by he's got nothing to gain by saying this. There's no benefit to him saying this. Amazon, however, are vested interest in spewing nonsense from this. So Peter Jackson is weighing in on Amazon's The Lord of the Rings TV series. The Oscar-winning director of The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies reveals the studio asked him to be involved with the series and promised to send him scripts, then never contacted him again. So they were like, would you like to be involved? We'd like you to be involved. Please be involved. He was probably like, yeah, no worries. We'll send you scripts, and nothing happened. So they asked me if I wanted to be involved. And I said, that's an impossible question to answer without seeing a script. Jackson recalled to Scott Feinberg on the Hollywood Reporters Awards Chatter podcast. So they said, as soon as we get the first couple scripts, we'll send them to you. And the scripts never showed up. And that's the last thing I heard, which is fine. No complaints at all. So this is how weird it is. They're like, oh, hey, Peter Jackson, world famous, great adapter of Lord of the Rings. Could you be involved with our series, please? We're adapting it as well. And he's like, look, I can't really say yay or nay because I don't know the quality of your show. It could be absolute poo. So they were like, oh, well, no worries, mate. What we'll do, Peter Jackson, world famous Lord of the Rings adapter, we'll send you some scripts when they're done. Is that right? And he was like, yeah, no worries. And nothing happened. So, sounds like, we know this has been in development hell for a little while with the scripts and things, and it looks like they were like, shit, we can't send these scripts to anyone because what if it leaks? I mean, what? Such nonsense. In an upcoming The Business podcast talking to Hollywood Reporter's Kim Masters, the filmmaker echoes the anecdote and phrases it slightly differently, yet makes the same point. About 4 or 5 years ago, they asked if I would be interested in it. So I said, have you got the script yet? Because I know how hard the scripts were to write for the films, and I didn't know the people writing their scripts. They said, oh, no, we haven't got the scripts yet, but as soon as we do, we'll send you the scripts. So I was waiting for the scripts to arrive, and they never did. Again, that's 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, they hadn't had any scripts anyway. Like, this has been bouncing backwards and forwards. It is amazing that they're just like, yeah, whatever. We won't get him involved. I reckon it's through fear for being ridiculed by someone who's obviously adapted it and done well. That's what I reckon. So back in 2018, Jackson told the UK's Metro, I think they're going to send us some scripts to see if we can help them along. Still, Jackson emphasised that he harbours no hard feelings towards Amazon series and is eager to watch it as a fan of the franchise. I'll be watching it, he says. I'm not the sort of guy who wishes it ill will. Filmmaking is hard enough. If somebody makes a good film or TV show, it's something to celebrate. Yeah, true. The one thing I'm looking forward to is actually seeing it as a perfectly neutral viewer. Jackson adds that Amazon is betting the farm on Tolkien, giving its massive $500 million budget for the show's debut season. Some of that is actually setting up the infrastructure for the next show as well, just as an FYI. But they did move the show. So they were filming in New Zealand and now they're moving it to the UK, if I remember rightly. So Amazon Studios responded to Jackson's comments with the following statement, and this is the funniest thing, right? So he's perfectly neutral about it. He's not been an arsehole, but their response is funny. In pursuing the rights for our show, We were obligated to keep the series distinct and separate from the films. We have the utmost respect for Peter Jackson and the Lord of the Rings films and are thrilled that he's looking forward to watching The Rings of Power. It just sounds like you call him a liar, mate. What a weird response. In pursuing the rights for our show, we were obligated to keep the series distinct and separate from the films. We have the utmost respect for Peter Jackson and the films and are thrilled that he's looking forward to... Basically, yeah, you're lying, mate, is what they're saying. I'm inclined more to believe Peter Jackson than I am Amazon at this stage. Now, sources close to the project describe a complicated and delicate backstory to the situation. First, that the studio has high regard for Jackson, of course, PR, and that Rings of Power showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have privately attempted to make overtures to the filmmaker, but as the statement suggests, there were also legal concerns about keeping the films, which are owned by Warner Brothers, and the TV show separate. There have been executive changes during the time period in question, as well, with former head of genre programming Sharon Talguado, whom one source described as an advocate of luring Jackson to the project, to partner the company in 2019. Perhaps even more crucially, sources say author J.R. Tolkien's estate was against having Jackson on board. It shouldn't be surprising, as the estate had no involvement with the films, and Christopher Tolkien had previously slammed the trilogy in the press as eviscerating his father's books. I cannot fucking wait for what you say about this show then. Let's get some consistency. Claiming they turned his novels into action movies for young people that lack beauty and seriousness. But the estate is involved with the series. Fucking course you are. So you're not going to badmouth it, are you? Amazon paid the estate an astounding $250 million for the rights to make the show, and all that said, one does not simply offer to send Peter Jackson a Lord of the Rings script and then leave the man hanging. So Jackson was also asked if a movie studio would greenlight his trilogy today, and he said probably not. Not with a director like me in a studio that would put his money on the line for 3 movies. True. If there was anything we gave to the ongoing community of filmmaking, it's that we opened up the CGI bag of tricks to have huge battle scenes. Yeah, true. And then subsequently has made a killing from his effects houses and stuff. So there you have it, ladies and gents. Amazon are calling Peter Jackson a liar. Doesn't really bode well, does it? Honestly, I cannot wait to see what Christopher Tolkien says about this series. Because I tell you what, if you're less than scathing, you're full of shit. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we of course have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.